Now, if you live in Florida, you've probably heard of a town called Port St. Joe, but did you know that there's a beach here with a lot of history and some of it has been erased? Well, if you didn't, don't worry. I did some digging. Let's get into it. Now listen, this video gonna take you through some twists and turns, okay? And a lot of the history in this part of Florida, I couldn't find it. And I do not know why. So I'm gonna start this thing off where, I can, all right? So way back, all right? Pirates used to come into this area of Florida and they used to, hide their treasure and hide a lot of their booze. And when it comes to the treasure, there's actually people that still come out to this area and search for some of the treasure because there's stories saying that, people didn't find the treasure that a lot of these pirates was hiding, back in the day. So it's probably still some treasure here. Now, if we fast forward a little bit, all right, to the Civil War era, okay? Now, we all know that Florida wasn't, really a part of the Civil, War. They weren't a state yet. But the thing about the Civil War in Florida is Florida was a big, salt producer for the Confederacy here in Florida. Now, this section of Florida, Port St. Joe, it was actually a major producer of the salt. And the Union knew that. So what they would do is they would come into the area and kind of like destroy all the salt. They didn't want the Confederacy to get the salt. I guess they needed it for their food. Now, this doesn't really seem like a big problem, but it was, okay? Because when they was coming here doing this would create little battles between the two sides. And, anything they could do just to, mess with each other, they would do it. All right, listen, I'm going to put this in here, but I don't know if it's true or not, but it sounds legit, all right? So like I said, Florida was a major producer of salt during the Civil War. And when the Union would come in, like I said, they would knock over their little salt things. But that's where the whole, bad luck, if you knock over salt thing came from. You got to throw it over your shoulder. They say that's where this came from. I don't know if that's true or not, but if you heard something different, put it in the comments. Now, this area of Florida, Port St. Joe, always was like the producer of something, all right? There was a little time when they did stuff with bees, okay? They did all kind of stuff with bees. It was beekeepers, and honey, and all kind of stuff. But there was also other things they were doing. Like they built a factory, all right off of the port here, all right? And it was a paper factory. And this place, employed a lot of people, but this was a iconic place for decades here in the area. They made paper. Now, this is where the story starts taking the twist and the turns. So right off of, Port St. Joe, okay, there's a beach there called Bayou Beach. And this beach has a lot of history with it that just can't be found. Now look, seeing that there was no information about this part of this era, from the 1950s to the 1970s, you can't find any information about Bayou Beach. And I'm gonna tell you why. This is Leroy, and that's Wilma. Now, Leroy and Wilma, okay, they're very popular on this beach. There's not a lot of info, but they apparently ran this beach for a little bit. But let me tell you the story about the beach. So in the 1950s, there were 5 investors, 5 black investors, okay? They put their money together and they bought a section of this beach and they built hotels, nightclubs, and restaurants just for black people. Now, this place was, jumping for years. Jumping so much that white people was coming here too. It was the place to be. But the funny thing is about all of this, you can't find no information about none of it. I've been researching this for 2 days and haven't found one story about the real deal about Bayou Beach. And look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you are from this area around this time and you've been to Bayou Beach when it was jumping, I need you to please put it in the comments and teach us all something. This is the first time I ever had this going on. I ain't never not had the information, little bit of a story until now. Listen, this is one of the weirdest stories I've ever done. The part of Bayou Beach where the black resorts and all that stuff was at, none of that's there. There's no history of it. None. It was all tore down. New stuff has been built. This is what I'm getting from the research. I'm hoping that I'm wrong and somebody can put in these comments about something about that time. And one more thing before we get out of here, okay? This story is crazy. This part of Florida was supposed to be the capital of Florida, all right? When Florida was split into 2. instead of Pensacola, supposed to be here. But everybody passed away in this area of yellow fever. And in that section, Bayou Beach, Port St. Joe, all of that was abandoned for years. And that's why the pirates was able to come in and hide stuff, because nobody was there. So the more you know. Peace.